Hello, I'm JC Losada. Welcome to my studio, The Sonic Room, here in New York City.
Eso es lo que tú querías, compadre.
Today we're going to be talking about Latin percussion, and we're going to be using a tropical track as an example from my very good friend and Latin Grammy nominee Edwin Bonilla.
Puede acabar el calor del verano que termina.
One of the cool things about this track that we're going to be using today is that the artist performs all the percussion instruments. One of our missions today is going to be to give a feeling of a live percussion set, like if there was different percussionists in the room. So for that, we're going to be applying different reverbs and different rooms on plates in order to create a space in which all the musicians would be sitting. Also, we're going to be talking about how a percussion set compares to a regular drum set. When it comes to rock and pop, each instrument of the drum set covers a specific range of frequencies, right? So when it comes to tropical music, each of the instruments in the percussion set also fills a specific frequency range. So it's very important to keep that in mind so we can give to each instrument its own space, both frequency-wise and also panning-wise. We're going to be also seeing how each of these instruments of the percussion set should be panned for them to create what I like to call a conversation. Each of them are different instruments, but when you put them all together, it feels like a conversation, and it feels like each of them is part of a one whole instrument, a one entity, right?
¡Sopla, guajiro!
When I am mixing a percussion set, I like to start with the congas because the conga would be the equivalent to the snare and also to the kick drum when it comes to the comparison between a regular drum set and a percussion set, right? So in this case, we're going to start with the quinto, which is the main conga. If you're looking visually at the conga player or the conguero, which is how we say it in Spanish, when you see the conguero, you're going to see that he has one conga between his legs. That's the main conga, right? Which is the quinto. Then he's got two more congas. One of them is the tumbadora, which is the lowest one in a register. And then you have the conga. The actual conga would be the medium-sized one. So in this case, the quinto is the one that is driving the actual rhythm from the three of them. Check it out. So you see, you can hear that. So that would be what the snare would be doing, right, on a rock song or in a pop song. So for us, it's gonna be really important to emphasize the slab of the conga, right, which would be the equivalent to the snare, and also the first hit, the hit that goes on the first beat and the third beat, right, which would be the equivalent to the kick drum. So that first hit it happens with the palm of the hand of the conguero, right? So it has that low frequency there. So let's listen and let's start working a little bit on the EQ to enhance both the low and low mid frequency so we can get that 1 and 3 hit, as well as the slap, which usually sits around the 4K, maybe between 3.5, 4.5K in the conga, right? So let's do a little bit of EQ so we can hear what is going on with the conga. Also, since this is a hybrid system, what I usually do is that I do the overall coloration of the EQ on the SSL analog EQ, and then I go to my Waves SSL plugins to do more of the surgical and specific frequencies. Now I'm gonna go on my Waves SSL EQ, and we're gonna go more surgical and a little bit more hardcore on those EQs, right? So check it out. All right, so as you can hear, now the slap of the conga is coming out much stronger, right? And for a second, it might sound a little bit too much when we're listening to it by itself, but once we put it in the blend with the rest of the instruments, then it will definitely sit in and cut through, you know? Remember, there's a lot of elements that are gonna come in the mix, so it's important for that slap to cut through. So let's do an A-B comparison with and without EQs, and I'm gonna activate and deactivate simultaneously the waves EQ and the analog EQ. All right, so as you can feel now and hear it, the slap of the conga is way more present. Also, you can hear the ghost notes, which are the subdivisions when it comes to the rhythm in the conga. So if you can hear those ghost notes, remember the one that hits on 1 and 3 is the equivalent to the kick drum when it comes to a pop configuration, right? So now let's work on the other congas, the tumbadora, which is the lowest one in register. So for that one, we want to make sure that we emphasize some of the low mids, but be careful, don't do it too much because it gets muddy. It's important also to emphasize around the 4K, 5K also on that one, because since it's a low register, you want to make sure that you can hear the actual hit on the head of the conga, right? Because otherwise it would be just booming. Also, keep in mind the tumbadora or the low conga, they don't play all throughout the song. The one that is playing throughout the whole song is the quinto, which is the main conga. The other two are just for specific hits in specific parts of the song. We have here a little section where he is performing the 3 congas. So let's work on that tumbadora, right, which is the low conga. Now let's hear both of those congas together so we can see how the conversation is going. So in this case, since the quinto is the main conga, remember, visually you want to see your performer sitting in front of you, right? So we know the quinto goes between his legs, so that one is going to stay very close to the center. I usually like putting it a little bit to the left, or to the right, to one of the sides, your choice. But let's say for this example that we're gonna put it a little bit to the left, again, like if it was the snare drum, right? Snare drum, even though it feels really close to the center, usually you pan it a little bit to one of the sides, right? So then we have the main conga here between your legs, and then we have the other 2 congas to the side. So let's say the tumba, which is the lowest one, we're gonna put, let's say at 9 o'clock, and the conga, which is the mid-register one, we're gonna put to the other side, opposite of that, right? So now let's hear what we got so far, and let's also incorporate the conga, which is the mid-register one, right? This conga is the one that sits in the middle, frequency-wise, right? So for this one, we want to make sure we emphasize around 900 hertz, maybe 1K. So let's start with that. And then we also want to make sure that we add some of the high end so we can hear the actual hit of the head, right? So let me play that for you, and then we'll EQ it as we go. Let's do a quick A-B comparison on the conga and see the difference with and without EQ. just with EQ. I haven't even applied any compression yet, and you can see how each of the 3 congas already are sitting in a very specific range of frequencies. So let me play the 3 congas together so we can hear it, and then we're gonna work a little bit on the compression, okay? This is just the beginning of my 1-hour detailed masterclass on mixing Latin percussion. To watch the full masterclass, including even more tips and tricks on mixing congas, bongos, timbales, and minor percussion, just go to waves.com/percussion. See you there!